for the Hobart Test match. There is a massive selection quandary on the cards.
Yeah, who would want to be an Australian selector? Although it's a better scenario to be in this when you're winning Test matches than when you're losing, like England are at the moment. Yeah, I mean, a great story for Usman Khawaja to make the most of his opportunity. He had that steely look of determination when he was batting with Steve Smith on day one, and they were going about it at a reasonably slow tempo, but they were trying to make sure that they were able to build a partnership, and that's what we haven't seen. Enough from England is surviving in the tricky periods and looking to capitalise. I think Australia scored about 24 runs in the 3 overs before tea, which included the Usman Khawaja century, in which Joe Root bowled himself, David Malan, and also Jack Leach. And that's just another example where England have had moments of opportunity, but they haven't been able to capitalise on it. From an Australian point of view, I hope Uzi stays in the team. He's a great character and he's well loved here in Sydney as well. In terms of, they made it quite clear Travis Head's going to come back into the side. So could they rest potentially Cam Green, who's still relatively young, and with tours coming up overseas, especially to Pakistan next, that might be one option. But as we know, when you're in a winning team, Dan, you're pretty reluctant to give up your spot and rest. We've certainly heard the Australian fast bowlers say that. So that will be the tricky part for the selectors in terms of trying to get the balance right. They back Marcus Harris in, so I can't see him changing from the top of the order. It's just whether they can potentially squeeze in one more batter for Tassie.
The Cam Green situation is an interesting one. I mean, he batted pretty well against India last summer, made that 84, showed good signs as a 21-year-old, struggled with the bat this series, but then his bowling has been fantastic. There are some people, sports fans can be reactive, of course, who are saying he might not be up to it just yet. There can be no doubt amongst the Australian selectors that he will be a star in the future, surely, considering the promise he's shown so far.
Into Cam Green, his bowling has been superb, so I agree with you. I think at the moment he's almost a bowling all-rounder rather than a batting all-rounder, but it has provided a bit of cover for Alex Carey, who's just into the side. So I could see a scenario in Pakistan potentially where Cam Green's one of our leading.
We look forward to the work from you and the team on ABC Grandstand throughout the day. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan. We're all in pink. We can't wait for it to get underway. Hopefully the rain does its part and clears not too far away.
Here's hoping. Thanks to you both. And Daniel Garb will be back in half an hour with more sport here on ABC News Radio. I hope you can stay with us. Stocks were wobbling in afternoon trade. They've all closed lower. The Dow Jones down about 0.5% to 36,236. Pretty flat for the S&P 500. It's down just 4 points, and the Nasdaq down 0.13% to 15,080 this morning. The local share market, though, it's in positive territory, up about 1% or 79 points in futures trade. The Aussie dollar buying 71.61 US cents at the moment. Let's take a look at the weather for the capital cities before we head to the latest news, and we'll start in Brisbane. Showers today, a top of 27, and you're there now, currently 27 degrees. In Sydney, showers and 28. It's 23 now. But they're hoping that'll change at the SCG. In Canberra, showers and a storm likely, a top of 25, currently 20 in the national capital. Humid with a possible storm in Canberra and 29, 24 at the moment. In Hobart, rain and a possible storm, 25 the top in Tassie. It's 18 now. For a shower or two and 23, currently 18 as well. Different story in the west, very hot and sunny in Perth, a top of 38. 21 at the moment. In Darwin, a possible late shower or Queensland, 7:30 in the northern territory, and at 6 o'clock in the west. News time.
Good morning, Kerry Worthington with ABC News. Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews has confirmed tennis star Novak Djokovic did have a visa issued to him to enter Australia, but he didn't meet the requirements once he landed. The Serbian's being held in immigration detention in Melbourne as he appeals against the cancellation of his visa. The hearing will resume in the Federal Circuit Court on Monday morning. Border Force is also investigating another player and official who were granted medical exemptions by Tennis Australia. Ms Andrews has told ABC News Breakfast Australia has strong Border Force policies and everyone in immigration detention is treated fairly and equally.
Mr Djokovic is not being held captive in Australia. He is free to leave at any time that he chooses to do so, and Border Force will actually facilitate that.
The protesters have clashed with police overnight outside the Melbourne hotel where Djokovic is being detained. Yvette Gray reports.
Shine! Video footage shows protesters pushing police after two women who had climbed onto an awning at the Park Hotel in Carlton were removed by officers. Last night, Djokovic supporters joined refugee advocates who often gather outside the hotel to protest against the country's immigration laws. Police used a scissor lift to remove the two women aged 19 and 54 from the awning after they refused to come down. They're expected to be charged with trespass and criminal damage offences. It's understood no one was seriously injured. Djokovic will remain in immigration detention until his court hearing on Monday morning.
Unions have renewed their call for free rapid antigen tests in workplaces as businesses grapple with staff shortages due to surging COVID cases. Australia's workforce is being depleted by the Omicron wave, which saw infections climb past 72,000 yesterday. ACTU Acting Secretary Liam O'Brien says supplying free rapid tests will give businesses and employees the confidence to keep trading.
If we had rapid tests, businesses would be able to say to workers, do a rapid test. If you're clear, and come to work. If you're not able to do that, then businesses and workers are very uncertain about attending a workplace where they might infect colleagues or indeed customers.
Residents of the northeast Victorian town of Euroa will need to travel 40 minutes for emergency care after the local hospital closed its urgent care centre to cope with staff shortages. Charmaine Allison reports.
Euroa Health says residents will need to travel to Seymour, Benalla or Shepparton for emergency care after closing its urgent care centre until further notice. The health service has also temporarily closed its acute hospital, redeploying staff to its aged care facility. Meanwhile, Goulburn Valley Health's Graham Street testing site will also be closed today due to staff shortages. Residents are asked to attend the Shepparton Showgrounds site instead.
In breaking news, New South Wales has recorded 38,625 new 1,738 people are in hospital, with 134 in ICU. Sudanese security forces have fired tear gas and live ammunition, killing at least 3 people during protests against the country's military takeover. Thousands have been protesting October's military coup that scuttled hopes of a peaceful transition to democracy in Sudan. The Sudanese security forces to show restraint. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen will visit Myanmar later today, despite a warning from his top diplomat that the country has all the ingredients for civil war. Southeast Asia correspondent